I want to bring in NBC's Ryan Riley in Washington. Paola Ramos is in Miami, where she spent Inauguration Day at a J6 Pardon Watch party. Frank Figliuzzi is former assistant director for counterintelligence at the FBI and an MSNBC senior national security analyst. With me here in studio, Anthony Coley, former senior advisor to Attorney General Merrick Garland. Welcome all. Ryan, help us get our arms around this, because it's a ton of people, including violent offenders, as I said, all being released, I guess, essentially at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, it's really sweeping and full. It's a full, complete sweeping pardon. And I think that that's, really something that I think a lot of Republicans on Capitol Hill are going to have to be grappling with in the next few days, because a few of them put themselves out there and said that, J.D. Vance, for example, is that obviously that pardoning January 6 rioters who committed violent attacks on police officers was not a good idea. And that yet that's exactly what happened. You're going to show video after video of these offenders. And I can tell you, well, that person's been pardoned. Everyone who has been pardoned. The only question is who of these defendants hasn't been charged yet, and who will still be left sitting, because remember, the online sleuths have identified more than 200 people who assaulted law enforcement officers that day who were never arrested, and now almost certainly will not be. They haven't said definitively, but that pardon would theoretically apply to any of these future cases. So it's almost certain that this is the end of the road. This is it. These cases aren't going to be continuing forward, and people who committed really violent offenses against members of law enforcement are being pardoned. In fact, I spoke earlier today with Sergeant Gannell, and he showed me some of the notifications that he was getting of all of these people as they were coming out of prison. He would get this notification. You see them on the screen there. So he got these emails. He also got calls from them and saying, so imagine just like overnight, all of these people who attacked you, who you testified in court against, and then, you went there for their sentencing hearing and told the judge, how awful the attack on you was. And then lo and behold, all in one foul swoop, all of these people are getting out, even though they were sentenced to several years behind bars in most cases. And Sergeant Gannell took a beating more, I think, than most other officers that day. He had one of the worst experiences of the day. There's just so much video of him being assaulted again and again and again and again by January 6 rioters, Chris.
I see the concern on your face, Anthony, and you were nodding as he was speaking. What do you make of this?
So this whole thing, Chris, is quite disturbing. It's also not surprising. Right? Donald Trump told us that he was going to do it, and he's been aligned with these folks for years. When I first realized he was aligned with these individuals, it was during the first presidential debate against Joe Biden. He was asked by a moderator, Donald Trump, if he would condemn the Proud Boys and violent right-wing extremist groups. He declined to do that, and he said, Proud Boys, stand back and stand by. And they did that, Chris. We didn't hear anything more from the Proud Boys through that election. Fast forward to December of that year. Donald Trump tweets out to the world and to these individuals, come to D.C., we'll be wild. And they show up on January 6th with their zip ties, with their tactical vests, with their axes and their bear spray. And they march down to the Capitol and they do exactly what Donald Trump tells them to do. They fight like hell. He told them to fight like hell or they wouldn't have a country to fight for. And that is what they did until Donald Trump told them to stop. And so the message that he is sending with these pardons is that it is okay to commit crimes. So long as you do it in my name, I will have your back. And that's chilling.
Michael Fanone is outside the Manassas, Virginia courthouse right now. Let's listen in.
Really, the only recourse that I have at this point was to seek protective orders, ordering that these individuals stay away from me and my members of my family and do not attempt to contact us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You called last night. I know you gave your comments about the pardons, but you called it a betrayal. Can you just talk a little bit more about how that felt when that happened?
Yeah, I mean, I chose a profession of law enforcement, and ultimately, my job was to serve the American people, and the American people chose this. The American people elected Donald Trump, knowing full well that he would pardon my attackers, and so it is the ultimate betrayal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, last night after you heard the news, did you decide, basically, when you came today, was this something that you said, okay, this needs to be urgent. I need to get down here today. I guess you mentioned the threats. What were your fears if, you know, maybe you delayed this, maybe you didn't have these protective orders right away? What was the fear there?
Well, I mean, there is a timeliness component to applying for a protective order. I know that, you know, from my time spent as a police officer. And, you know, a great deal of time has elapsed since January 6, 2021. That being said, you know, I think that the anticipation was that these individuals would serve these lengthy sentences that they were given for the violent assault that they carried out against me. And now they're free.
Yeah.
And so my thoughts are on protecting myself and members of my family and nothing else right now.
Yeah. And, you know,
Let me go back, if I can, Ryan. Obviously, he's worried for his safety. Is he one of many people who have been vocal about what happened on January 6th? Tell us about his decision to go down there, if you know about it.
Yeah, Mike actually texted me and told me this was going to happen, and we sent a crew out there to meet him because, you know, he was expecting a lot of this. I've been talking to Mike for the past several days, and actually I talked with him on the last day, what will now be the last day of any of these January 6 hearings. It was the sixth and final January 6 sentencing hearing. So we actually have some tape from that from Friday of him speaking to me outside the courthouse. If we don't have, I spoke with him outside the courthouse, and he was.
I think we do have it. I think they're
Yeah.
just taking a second to cue it up. Let's see. No, we don't have it now. Okay, go ahead.
So-
Tell us about your conversation.
Yeah, so I had this conversation with him outside the courthouse, and then I actually led him in afterwards. I spoke with him afterwards, and we interviewed. But one of the moments that I was really just will stick with me for a while is that we were standing outside the courthouse, and Judge Chutkan, who oversaw all of these oversaw January 6 cases and also oversaw Donald Trump's case, was actually coming out of the courthouse as I was speaking.
Okay, wait a minute. I don't know if this is part of the tape we have, but I'd love to see it if we do. So we have that tape queued up now. Can you play it?
After testifying before Congress, like, I got to see America's true character. I got to know the American people real well, politicians too well. And I just realized that, you know, indifference, cowardice, selfishness are real, you know, that's the real American way.
So this
And
is
so
when
just-
you saw Tanya Chutkan?
Yeah, so that's right before she actually walked by, and she walked out with her security detail, and that's something that, you know, not every judge has necessarily a security detail with them all the time, especially, you know, inside the courthouse, accompanying them everywhere, and so she walked out with her security detail. This was in the morning, and then at the end of the day, as I came out of the last January 6 hearing that I'll ever go to, was I ran into Judge Chutkan in the hallway, and we, you know, exchanged pleasantries, and then she actually called and asked, you know, how's Mr. Fanone doing? I think that there's this shared sort of sense of concern for, you know, other individuals, because she's seen officers lay their hearts out. And, you know, it's not only these people that we see on TV all the time, and I think that that's something that really should get through to folks, is like there are just average officers who will walk into that courtroom and talk about one of the worst days in their life and testify about how awful this was. And they're not somebody you see on television because they don't want to deal with the threats that, you know, someone like Mike Fanone has to deal with. So, you know, we don't necessarily see those people on TV all the time because they realize that, hey, if I throw myself out there on TV, I'm probably going to get a lot of backlash for it. So people are making these assessments about their personal safety and feeling as though they can't freely speak out because they're worried about these online mobs going after them. And that's really just the situation that we are in here today in America.
Anthony, I've known you for a bit.
Right.
I don't know that I've ever seen you this angry or this emotional as I see you now. What do you say to Michael Fanone? What do you say to the folks who you know who prosecuted these cases?
So here's my message to Donald Trump. What happened to Back the Blue? What happened to Back the Blue? So while they were talking just now, I went back and I wanted to just refresh my memory. I knew that Michael Fanone had been targeted on January 6th. 5 seconds. He was dragged down the Capitol steps. He was beaten with pipes. He was stunned with a taser. He was sprayed with chemical irritants and threatened with his own body. That's what happened to Michael Fanone. And this president pardoned the folks that did that to him. I think he owes the country an apology, and I think he owes Michael Fanone and the 140 officers who were also on the wrong end of a baton of these January 6 defendants. He owes them an apology, and it's a sad day in American politics.